Right. Hey everybody, it's me, Taryn, and with me is Jen. It's time for another video where we'll be talking about a lot of other issues, specifically around Kyle Gordy, aka Kyle Adrian Crane. Um, Kyle thought he would be clever going and sending around an intimate video of him and Jen after the first sperm donation that they had. So Jen wants to just tell you guys a little about that.
Sure. So that was a video that I had recorded on my phone after the first conception try, you could say. I had recorded that video specifically because I was we were potentially going to share it with somebody with HBO that was looking into doing a documentary on at-home insemination, specifically with single moms by choice. And I had come in contact with this woman, and she had told me to prepare, a little video to send over. And so this is essentially what I came up with. And so I had recorded that video after our first natural insemination. And Kyle took it upon himself to begin to spread that video within the community after the last few videos that we did here on YouTube, trying to make it appear as if, see, everything looks happy and well, and she was fine, et cetera, et cetera. And just to place it in perspective, I did not find out about the true Kyle, the real Kyle, until after I had already conceived. I was not aware of him withholding his genetic health, his recessive genetic disease that he carries. I was not aware of that at that time because he had not disclosed it to me. I was also still very much in the dark as to who he was as a person and his character, and he was really great at putting on a good image and telling me exactly what I needed to hear. And so that is essentially what that video is. You can see within the video itself as well that he essentially speaks for me rather than allowing me to speak. And so he likes to take control in that way, paint a certain image. So he has that power to do so. He also, as he was spreading this video, also claimed that I was the sexual aggressor, and he has a bunch of messages to prove it. It was a sexual relationship, and I was, in my own sexuality, that's how babies often get made. So, to paint me as a slut or anything else is just really low and sad, because it's just not the truth of the matter, and makes him look pretty bad. There was no reason to share that video around trying to create some image for himself. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Perfect. Thank you. And just to touch on that, a sexual relationship or sexual, whatever you would want to call it, doesn't mean sexual assault. Doesn't mean that Jen consented to what Kyle did to her.
Exactly.
When a woman says stop, you stop. So
And when
yeah.
a woman does not have the ability to consent, the act of consent has been taken away from her. That is a different ball game. So
Yeah. Okay, so one thing that we do see as Kyle's sort of response to all of this is that Jen's just upset because of the failed relationship or whatever the case is. So Kyle, just so you know, Jen's not the only person that's come forward. There's lots of people that have come forward with stories about you. They may not be willing to speak out here, but they will surely be willing to speak out in the legal sense. And another thing that Kyle has been saying is that he shows people his genetic results in person, which is a lie, point blank lie. He doesn't, he hasn't. For those who are still quite new, Kyle has got what's called familial dysautonomia, also known as FD. It is a severe genetic condition that can be life-threatening and also shortens the lifespan of children that are affected by it. So what Kyle does is he sends his report without the first page of the genetic results. So how 23andMe conducts their reports is on the first page, it has your name, and then it has everything that you carry and everything that you are affected by, and the rest of the stuff that is not detected follows. Kyle eliminates the first page, which shows everything that is detected, and what is on there is FD. Kyle claims that that is the full report. Kyle, I have got proof of this, so you can deny it as much as you want. I have the proof. So that is how Kyle has been getting away with it. Of course, recipients don't know what to look for. They don't know what to expect. So they have taken his word for it. So to touch on a little bit more about Kyle, I think we'll start on just a couple of the small things. One thing about people that have got FD, they have got intellectual issues. And Kyle has not been able to pass a driver's license. And, obviously I don't know for sure what the reason would be, but people with FD have intellectual issues, which can really affect spatial reasoning. So that's one thing that he definitely has. And then Kyle, another thing is that Kyle has, well, he claims, this is out of his own words, is that he's claimed that he's donated thousands of times to women. However, his success rate would then be very, very low if he's only got about 60, 70 odd children. And that could be also, again, because of his genetic problem. So yeah, and then another thing that Kyle is very, very open about on Dr. Phil, which he doesn't like people knowing about that documentary, by the way. There's a couple that Kyle doesn't like people knowing about, which we've posted on our group. But Kyle says he doesn't drink alcohol, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do any of that. When Kyle was with Jen, he did drink and he did take drugs. Right, Jen?
Yeah, while we were talking, when he was on his travels, he had some wine here and there. It didn't bother me personally, because I could tell he wasn't a drinker, but the fact that you would say you don't drink, that's not honest, it's not truthful, because he obviously does drink here and there. He also takes edibles, so cannabis edibles, to what degree I don't know. Not saying that he's a big pothead or anything, but there's definitely some of that in his system, so he should be open to disclosing that as a sperm donor. And our first meeting, we actually did psychedelic mushrooms, so that was another, although he said that was his first time and I believed him, I could tell because he had no clue what the hell psychedelic mushrooms do or how they affect you. So he's definitely not averse to alcohol or drugs. And that's something that he should be a little bit more honest about.
I think that's the big thing, is that it doesn't matter if you drink. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you smoke weed every now and then. It doesn't matter if you do drugs every now and then. What matters is you telling the truth. You've gone out of your way on a talk show to say that you do not drink anything, you do not take drugs, you do not do any of these things, when in fact you do. So, I think what all of this is boiling down to at the end of the day is lying. Kyle is known and is being caught out for all of his lies. Another thing is on another video that he's made, which is extremely cringeworthy, that is on our group. He does say very openly that he plans to have thousands of children and wants a child of every race. And Jen was saying that he's always constantly fixated on, well, Jen experienced that, but I've seen with how he speaks, being fixated on his Asian babies and his Muslim babies and all that sort of thing. So it's just kind of, yeah, a little bit strange, but yeah, so that's his aim.
Creepy. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and he targets women. He targets women based on how he thinks that baby is going to look, and what he wants and what he desires. And then he claims that he's, you know, here to help women and be, you know, give women this other option. And really, it's for his own selfish needs. It's not coming from a giving space. It's coming from a very pathological desire on his part to populate the world with his donor conceived children. It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Especially with his genetic disorder, even more so. Another thing is that he will emulate some of these other donors. Unfortunately, some of these other donors also do not disclose their history, their genetic disorders. And so he thinks he's fine to continue to hide, evasively hide this information as well. It seems to be a common idea or practice within the community that it is on the obligation of the recipients to request and ask for genetic tests, and that it is not the obligation of the donors to disclose that. Not only that, but when people attempt to bring the awareness to some of these groups of the importance of asking these questions or of requesting genetic results, it is often silenced, deleted, removed, because if people were to start asking questions and having a little bit of power within the situation, it would result in much different outcomes, and different donors being used, and these people who run these groups do not want that.
Exactly. And the thing is, again, something I'll press on is it doesn't matter if you've got a genetic condition. Who cares? What matters is that you are transparent and open with your recipient. Because it's their choice at the end of the day. If you've got something, they can go and get themselves tested. And if they're not a carrier, or if it's not something that's not really going to affect them, it's up to them. It's up to them to make that decision. It's not your choice.
And that's consent. And that is true informed consent. And so you are taking away informed consent from these recipient parents, as well as the donor conceived children. That's not fair for them to also have to carry as well.
Exactly. So don't say that it's up to the recipients to ask, and then if people want to tell recipients that they should ask, that person's silenced. It's enough. So another thing is we're going to get to the serious sort of stuff soon. But one thing is Kyle within the donor community is known as the rim job donor. And that is because it's Kyle's kink, which is fine. That's all. Honestly, people have their kinks. If that's what he enjoys, that's what he enjoys. The thing with Kyle, though, is that he will obviously convince women to do NI or whatever the case is, and he will then stick his ass in their faces and tell them to lick it. And this is not just something I've heard once or twice. This is something that I have heard from recipients many times. So, that's also quite disgusting that he is forcing that. It's not something that they discuss, and that a recipient knows is going to happen or has consented to happening. She just gets this asshole in her face and is told to go for it. So yeah, there's
That's
that.
kind of his MO, is he just gets very aggressive and he just does the thing, and it's not real consent. It hadn't been discussed prior, and it's coerced. It's not coming from the recipient's desire to actually do the thing, right? It's very coerced. And it can feel like a sense of obligation on the side of the recipient, like they're obligated to do this thing in order to receive that sperm. So
That's actually interesting you say that, because that is the exact same thing I have heard from numerous people that you've just said. That's what they all say, is that they feel obligated because they want that sperm. They're already there. They're already halfway to getting that sperm.
and he knows that, and he knows it's a slow thing, and then you get to that point and it's like taking away your little bit of power or control in the situation and him gaining it. And that's what he gets out of this. And it's not about the sex, it's about the game, it's about the power, it's about the control, it's about him getting his way.
Very much control. Only if you're a good girl can you join the mother group.
Me if I'm a good girl. Yep.
Only if you're a good girl. Okay, so I don't know which one of this is worse. But Kyle has donated to underage people. The proof that I have got of this is him donating to a 16-year-old girl in the UK. Kyle did claim that there are no laws about...
I did speak with this woman too, so...
Yeah, we both did. He claims that there are no laws in the UK with regards to age on when you can donate sperm or not. I obviously contacted a couple of clinics and have found out that the age is 18 years old. So there's that. And, looking at that, of course, legal age, say he met with a recipient, they wanted to have sex, and it's a 16-year-old girl, whatever the case may be, and it was all legal. At the end of the day, that person's still a child. That person is still very young. So in that sense, it would be highly unethical. But what Kyle has done is illegal. So yeah, that just, I guess, kind of highlights the sort of person that he is, right?
Yes, it shows his character, his lack of care for what these children are born into, or these situations that these children are born into. And that's something that really, really disturbs me, is just there's no care there about these children. They're just a pawn in his game.
Yeah. So I think that one really irks me, because what's the youngest? What is his youngest? And then I think the sort of final one that
and
I
what
would
is
like
he
to...
like? How low is he willing to go?
Yeah. It's scary, but I guess time will tell when more people come through, eh? Come forward. And then this one really, really angers me, makes me feel really just uneasy. But Kyle wants to donate to, I don't know if he has successfully, something I'm still trying to investigate, but he wants to donate to Muslim women. He has intent to donate to Muslim women. And he has point blankly said that he will not reveal to them that he is Jewish, that he's half Jewish. And this really just disturbs me because it's their culture. They've got Islamic laws that they have to abide by, and they can get severely punished to death if they go against any of these laws. And Kyle wanting to donate and not disclose that he is Jewish to Muslim women is absolutely disgusting.
Puts those women in harm's way, puts those children in harm's way. Just very unethical, very immoral, just that lack of care.
You know, of course,
about
certain
him.
Muslims will have certain parts of the religion that they keep and that they don't keep and all that sort of stuff, right? I don't know too much about the religion.
But it has to be their choice. That's the thing. It has
exactly.
to be
they need to be able to know so that they can make the choice. Because if it's against their religion and against their parents and all that sort of stuff, that they have any sort of relation with a Jewish person, they can get murdered for that. And Kyle doesn't give a shit about that. And the thing is he was told about this and he still turned around and said he doesn't care, he will not tell them.
I don't care.
So I really hope that this video lands up going to India. So spread it with all of your Indian friends, please, because they need to know the type of person that Kyle is too. But I think, you know, for now, this is the video that we want to do. Just always remember that for me to be speaking like this, for Jen to be speaking like this, if this wasn't true, we could be in huge trouble for defamation. The thing is that we've got the evidence, we've got the proof of all of this. And I'm just going to say now that Kyle's not the only donor. There's lots of them that we're busy looking into. Lots of unethical donors doing illegal stuff, dodgy stuff. And it's time that everyone gets exposed for it. Hey, Jen?
Yep. Yeah, this just isn't right. It's not right. These donors shouldn't be allowed to continue with these types of practices. Recipients deserved fully informed consent. They deserve to have the options presented to them in a way that allows them to make that informed consent, and it's just not happening. So not only is it not happening, but it's, you know, it's like the bullshit of it being on the burden of the recipient to know everything. Well, how is somebody who's just coming into this world going to know anything about anything that's happening? And somebody like Kyle works really fast and gets in and says that I'm available and all of that. And so it just continues on and on. So, so hopefully that this, you know, these videos will start to have an impact on Google, and it'll be easy, quick Google searches so people can find out the truth about Kyle. And we need your help with that. So spreading these videos, commenting on these videos, putting them, you know, allowing people to see them, would be really helpful. So yeah.
And again, we definitely urge others that have had experiences or bad experiences with these sorts of donors to come forward.
Yep.
You know, I've been working tirelessly at this for a very long time, and I can't act on hearsay. I can't act on, you know, I can't act on some random donor coming to me and saying, oh, this donor, I mean, like I've heard, sells fake sperm. I need recipients. I need recipients to come to me with their experiences. And, you know, I've actually had some people come forward and say, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing because it's scaring donors away. And my response to that is, why would it be scaring any normal ethical donor away? There's no need to be scared if you're not pressuring people into NI, if you're not raping, if you're not lying, if you're not hiding genetic results, there's no need to be scared. So
And
that's
there's
my
plenty of
response to that.
good donors that have reached out to you, have reached out to me saying, we know about this. We want to stop this. This is wrong. Every time I've tried to speak out on it, I'm silenced, I'm removed from groups, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not just recipients. And
it's amazing
the whole
donors
power
out
and
there.
control game is just gotta done. And this is not how we bring children into this world. It's sick.
No. And one thing I have been trying to figure out is which are the good groups, which are the groups that are being run by the right people. And yeah, that's something that, I'm not going to be putting out information just yet until I know for sure that people would be safe in those certain groups. But I definitely think other people need to be running these things. And a lot of these donors also have fake accounts. So you'll find one donor is admin of a group and all of his other admins are him as fake accounts. My thing would be to know who your admins are, get them on video. Any admin, any decent human being will be prepared to sit behind a camera and be like, hey, I'm so and so and I'm admin of this group. But yeah, I think until next time.
Yeah, I gotta get going. I gotta work tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks everyone. Cheers.
Bye.